Hi, it's Valencia here, and it's no surprise that the prime London property market is very active at the moment. Prime London property prices rebound, prime London sales hit highest yearly growth since 2015, third quarter was a turning point for prime central London homes. And if you thought it was all flying colours across the city, well no, because the prime London property market is more complicated than that. In fact, Lonrose reports that across prime London in October this year, compared to last, it was 26% down when it comes to sales transactions. Compared to 2019, down by 19%. So what is going on? Well, there are two markets at the moment in the prime London property market. There is the upper end and the lower end. In fact, if we look at the price band between 2 million and 5 million for October this year compared to last, it's up by 3%. If we look at 5 million and above, that's up by 10%. And if we look at compared to 2019, up by 29%. So clearly there is a lot of confidence in this price bracket, and we started to see this in around about September, which was the end of the stamp duty holiday. But firstly, let's dive into the prime London property market numbers when it comes to sales transactions, prices and stock levels, and what you can do if you're looking to buy a property in the current market to stimulate the market. But firstly, since the upper end of the prime London market has increased, let's also increase the like button of this video. It'll only take you a few seconds. So as expected, the market below 2 million was quiet, and this just continues to be the impact of the stamp duty holiday coming to an end. In fact, there were 31% fewer sales at below 2 million this October compared to 2019, and 35% fewer in 2020. Even with a few quieter months, the sales market across prime London has outperformed the previous 2 years. I mean, the number of sales for the first 10 months of 2021 was 8% higher than the whole of 2019 and 23% upon the 2020. Of course, below 2 million, the number of sales so far this year has already been 25% than the full 12 months of 2020, with 16% more sales at 2 million plus. Achieved prices across prime London have increased too. If we look at flats alone, they're up by 2.8%, and for houses, might be no surprise to you, is up by 7%. Overall, up by 4.6% on annual growth. So that is promising as we go into the year of 2022. And that now brings us to new instruction, which in London we're returning back to historical levels. In fact, in October we're down by 2% compared to 2015-2019 average, and that's following a 3% drop in September. Let's dive into the stock levels in the market, because that's a question I get asked a lot of times. A confident market in the sales market has meant that levels of available stock have fallen compared to 2020, with the number of properties available for sale in October 12% down on the same point in 2020. So with current stock levels, what do you do to stimulate the market to find the home you're looking for? The first thing you should do is hit that subscribe button so you can make sure you get weekly updates from us. Another thing you can do is reach out to certain agents in the local area. That may be slightly obvious, but there could be 30, 40 agents in the area. Make sure you build good relationships with at least a handful of them. Keep in touch with them on a weekly basis, and I assure you they're going to be at the forefront when something comes up, and before it hits the market, they will reach out to you. Another thing you can do is go on to Rightmove and Zoopla. Look at properties that have been withdrawn from the market, because those sellers very likely want to sell next year and were very, very disappointed this year. Another tip from me would be look at streets that you're really fond of and write a letter for every home in that street asking whether they'll be thinking of selling a property and that you are a very motivated buyer, willing and able to proceed. You will get responses if you are consistent, I promise you. Alternatively, if that's too much work, what you can also do is hire a buyer's agent who will do all of that for you and so much more, including negotiating the best possible price for you on your behalf. A lot of people do ask me, well Danny, is right now a good time to buy or sell? And so let me leave you with this. The properties that have gone under offer over the course of October compared to the beginning of the year has been lower, but that's of course because of the craziness of the stamp duty holiday. However, if we compare it between 2015 and 2019, we are up by 14%. So clearly there is a lot of motivation in the market, and if my team and I can do anything to help you or give you more information, please feel free to reach out, because we are ending the year on a good note and starting 2022 on a very, very positive, active market.